we are being so censored that we can't get the message out that we're even being censored, because if it's through social media, they are one of the platforms that is censoring us. And even if it's not outwardly, we're being shadow banned, which is a new word to me. So you could share something, but nobody acknowledges it. And you're thinking, oh, I'm isolated, I'm alone, but they're probably not seeing it. It's been moved to the bottom of the timeline, or it's non-existent.
You literally cannot post on social media about having a vaccine reaction without it being censored.
Or TikTok taking away shadow banning our accounts.
Facebook, TikTok, whatever. You mentioned the vaccine, you're going to get like some kind of warning or some kind of, oh, for COVID vaccine information, click this link. Oh, I got your information. Your information is not correct. It's not safe for everybody.
And you're giving out this disinformation all the time that could cost someone their life. I don't know how you can function. It's just not honest. I mean, what's the rationale for this? What's their reason for saying, oh, be skeptical about the vaccine?
As somebody who has given the last 17 years of my life to helping other people and health and wellness, to then have no one recognize and now censor the fact that I got sick and many other people are getting sick.
When I decided to make this movie, I made a pitch video that I shared privately and selectively on the platform Vimeo. I talked about my reaction and the need for compassion. It was removed for misinformation. They said they don't allow content that goes against the CDC recommendations. I am not allowed to tell my own story?
Everything's hidden and dark and taken down and removed, and you can't say this and don't do this. What is this about?
The vaccines we have now, which are incredibly safe and effective. Anyone who isn't on board with that is not participating in the best citizenship.
I wanted to believe that the vaccine was the way out. But the more I saw points of view not being heard, and the more I heard the phrase safe and effective, with no one talking about people who were injured from the vaccine, the more I started to doubt the narrative.
I am telling you, as an epidemiologist, the vaccines are causing these fatal and non-fatal events.
Follow the science is a slogan, yet there are very highly credentialed scientists and doctors who've been labeled as crazy and deplatformed.
Well, I do have some credibility here because I did create this technology.
Why are we not allowed to even hear their ideas? If the benefit so clearly outweighs the risk, what's the problem with healthy opposition?
I'm really tired of watching the U.S. health system's failed response to this pandemic.
After I reported to my command my concerns that in one morning I had to ground 3 out of 3 pilots due to vaccine injuries, my charts were pulled for review, and I was told that I would not be seeing acute patients anymore.
I understand that this is new and information is changing, and it's okay to be wrong sometimes. But there was a clear narrative that only supported one mainstream belief and declared any other ideas were wrong.
It's a great vaccine, it's a safe vaccine, and it's something that works.
This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Over the last 4 weeks in the UK, 78% of those that have died with the Delta variant from COVID have been fully vaccinated.
Vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
I'm saddened that we are supersaturated as a society right now in the attitude of everybody knows that has shut down intellectual curiosity.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
There's something not adding up, and we should all be asking, is it true that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated?
This is a paper from FDA that just came out in the last week or so. They've said there's at least a 16% non-capture of people who were vaccinated but are being called unvaccinated. That means that all the data where they've got vaccinated here and unvaccinated here, you've got 16% who are wrong in the wrong place. That means you've got a 32% imbalance is swinging the wrong way. FDA have just admitted that.
When you look at the viral load in the nasopharynx, it was decreased 4-fold for those who actually were within 12 to 28 days of the first dose of vaccine. Bottom line, the vaccines work in the real world.
This is basic immunology. If you get a shot in your arm, you don't have a tendency to, everybody hears about antibodies, but there's a special kind in your tears, your nose, your mouth, called secretory IgA. It's little mops in your tears. If you've had a natural infection, you have high levels of secretory IgA, these little mops in your mucosal membranes. From the vaccine, you don't get this physiologically. So we are seeing actually the vaccinated carry a high volume of virus because they don't have this secretory IgA. So this false construct from our federal agencies that this is a pandemic and the unvaccinated are spreading is a pathophysiologic lie. The vaccinated are carrying high volumes in their nose, their tears, their mouth of virus because the vaccine does not neutralize in that location of the body where the virus comes in.
If you look at the level of virus in the nasopharynx of a person who's vaccinated and compare that to the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an unvaccinated person who's infected, they're essentially equivalent. Vaccinated people are clearly capable of transmitting the infection to an uninfected person.
It's kind of strange that this meeting has to take place in the U.S. Senate. In the past, we would think that somehow the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, we would have basically maybe a message board, exchange ideas. The extreme censorships and attacks have led us to come to this place.
We invited them all here, the heads of the CDC, Secretary of Defense Austin, Secretary of Labor Walsh, Secretary of Transportation Buttigieg, FDA Acting Commissioner Woodcock, HHS Secretary Becerra, NIAID Director Fauci, NIH Director Collins, together with the CEOs of Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, and BioNTech. None of them showed up. We invited mainstream media, and of course they didn't show up.
And if you go to YouTube to watch the 6-hour Senate panel where these doctors and scientists got together with the vaccine injured, the video has been taken down for misinformation.
I know many mainstream scientists who, similar to me, think that the current narrative is extreme and wrong. But very few of them are willing to speak up. Any attempt to deviate from the main narrative today is faced with a wall of hostility and even elimination.
No matter what they try, I will always fight for